Is that Gimmick Puppets out here doing some, gimmick puppety things? Make sure you guys smash the grab button, that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. Now, this regional was actually a surprise factor to see some Gimmick Puppet action out here. Now, to see Gimmick Puppets not only winning the regional, but being a one-offshoot rogue choice at this point in time, I think is actually really, really cool to see. Now, keep in mind, we're still missing probably one of the better Gimmick Puppet cards that this deck could actually hope to get. And, you know, once we get that, it'll be good. But for now, to have this deck actually be successful and be able to do its thing is actually pretty good. Now, to nobody's surprise, Rizal was the most dominating force out of this top cut. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news to tell you this, but, it looks like every one of those Rizal variations were playing the Fiendsmith package. And it looks like the Fiendsmith build has become the more dominant build at this point. So there are going to be some of those. We also had Kashtira doing its thing. I mean, Kashtira Azamina. That's kind of cool, actually. Having, you know, that build kind of coming back into the spotlight is kind of nice. We also had a Ritual Beast Challenger out here. Now, I'm happy to still see that Ritual Beast is still doing things. Protoss is a stupid card. You know, that's not the only big success story that we've seen out of a lot of these regionals, though, is, you know, Protoss has been a pretty big, hard carry for a lot of these events. And unfortunately, we did have a Melodious list. Now, I say unfortunately because I don't have the list to talk about this. I've heard a lot of talk about Melodious as of late. You know, you've had people picking up the upgrades for this stuff over time, but to nobody's real shocker out here, we don't actually have a list for this. So keep in mind, yes, Melodious was successful. This Mysterious Duelist ran off into the sunset. Not to talk about their list and success, but it does kind of show, hey, you know, Melodious might actually be a challenger that you need to be aware of out here. Let's pass on over to those deck lists. All right, so starting things off here, we have some Gimmick Puppet action. Now, I do see that we still have the Horus package built into this. You're going with the 6-card package. We are playing the Walls of the Imperial Tombs in here. I guess making this be the field spell and then, you know, getting the chance to structure something back into the deck is going to be pretty good. I've kind of noticed some days you just kind of draw some of these bad cards in your deck and like, I'd rather have that kick back into the deck than having to deal with the offshoot chance of, you know, something bad happening. So I think that this is actually kind of a really cool thing in here. As long as you know you have the one Gimmick Puppet or the one King Sark in the deck, you should be getting to pretty much all the combo lines. Also, you know, I guess you could make the argument try to bulk down on 2 of these, but I feel like then you're bumping this up to 43 cards, and you're asking for too many bricks at that point. As long as you know you don't mess around with that too much. Plus, it's not like you can't toggle for this off of the Rainbow Bridge of Salvation. You know, you have the Foolish Burial Goods in order to dump this thing. As long as you can get this down or see the goods, well, congratulations, you know, you've started the engine to do the thing. We are playing 2 copies of the Terror Baby in here for the Denial, the 1 copy of the Scissor Arms, which is fine. I see in terms of the Biscay Doll, the Cattle Scream, and the Dearly Doll, or Drury Doll, yeah, all maximizing on one of those. This engine has been pretty optimized the way it looks. And I think, like, having the smaller package of this stuff is fine. Obviously, you're going to maximize on the Little Soldiers and Rogue Doll, because these are your better picks. In terms of the rest of this deck's feels, still doing the 2 copies of the Argent Chaos Source. That doesn't change. If you see Field Spell, you're pretty much off to the races, which is the way it should be. Now there's this down here. They were actually playing Exchange. Now the reason for this is you want knowledge of your opponent's hand to know where you need to cut them off. All right, or if your opponent has actually, you know, you're suspecting your opponent might have a hand trap. This is probably going to be your first interaction. It's also not like you can't set the Dreadful Mansion itself and, you know, whatever other combo pieces that you might potentially need. I mean, setting a Foolish Burial too, or, you know, maybe putting them into a situation where you've resolved everything and you're handing them the Cobalt Eagle now. This card's value is going to definitely be determined by how your hand structures at the very beginning and needing to see where you're going from here. Oh, hey, look, we opened Mansion. Oh, look, we opened Double Mansion. All right. Feels pretty good. Got the Little Soldiers plus the trap. Man, why do we have to open the trap? See, that's my only major complaint about playing this deck? Well, I mean, hey, Rainbow Bridge of Salvation getting dumped off of Imseti feels really good. But that puppet play is glued to my hand. But hey, there you go. You got to look at some of the powerful action that we're seeing out here from this deck. All right, Ritual Beast. We're playing 42 cards, which is not terrible whatsoever. Protos here is still going to be the main reason why this deck is doing well. Being able to floodgate your opponent straight out of the game and tell them, no, you're not allowed to play, has been one of the most solid things that we've had the chance for this game to be able to do. And I got to tell you, I want to see this deck continue to do well, even though it's, you know, a floodgate, big daddy, you're not allowed to play the game deck. And I know people don't like that, but that's fine. At least Ritual Beast are sitting here. Now, you're also going to notice one other cool little thing in here. Shifter was pushed down here into the side deck. I've seen a lot of Ritual Beast players just not giving a fuck. They literally just have been like, hey, you know, we're going to roll the Shifter. If we run into Malice, oh well, you know. It's just the consequences of our actions. Also, it's not like you can't call Dark and make it so your opponent literally can't play the game, but yes, Shifter has been one of those very, very, very helpful cards to allow this deck to do its thing. You've also probably noticed most of these builds are still on the Book of Eclipses in the main deck. Especially with Rizal running around, you just want to be able to make sure that they cannot play the game. And honestly, this is probably the best thing to go about it. Also main decking 1 copy of Steeds. I know some very early on lists were trying to play 2 Steeds. I think we're beyond that point now. Just play the 1 and you should be fine. Side deck, or down here you have the triple thrust to get into the Sanctum, into the grounds, and get into the dimensional barrier. So yeah, seems pretty straightforward to me. I don't have any real complaints with the way that this deck is looking. All of your engine pieces get you to all the crazy places that you need to be, and you know, just the way that this deck goes. Also, you know, no Colossus in this deck. Actually, I think most builds have kind of cut the Colossus stuff. I don't know if it was just feeling too cloggy at certain points, but yeah, most people have not liked that. Oh boy, the most copy and paste deck in the world is back out here. Now, I see this kind of goes against some of the early designs that we had out here. This build's actually main decking the triple crossout designator in here, so you know, let's call this what this is. The main reason why you're doing this is you don't want to get hand-trapped out of your mind. Droll and Lockbird is a big pain in the ass right now. And having your opponent cut you off absolutely feels incredibly bad. And you don't want to put yourself in that situation. And I don't really blame anybody for that. Of course, your Fiendsmith package is very, very built in. You're also playing the Fiendsmith and Paradise in here for the potential board clear. 2-track to make sure we can get to our engine pieces and go. I see we're doing a 2-1, so 2 Fouars, 1 Perulia in here, with no other additional copies anywhere to be seen. Okay. We're also side decking the plugin. That's crazy. What? I like reviving my Dreadnator, but I guess on the top end of the meta, maybe they're just worried about this being a liability. That's interesting. I also see that we are doing 1 copy of Soul Release in here. Okay, that's also interesting. Our thrust targets are Destructive Daruma Cannon. At what point do we need this card? And the Dimensional Barrier, obviously, for the mirror match, which, you know, tends to feel a little bit better, but that's very, very interesting. The card choices for this. Okay, and our other list here. Oh, this build chose to go with triple tracked, I see. Okay, we really just wanted to make sure that we could continuously get to this Fiendsmith line so we can do our thing, I see. Still side decking the Lancias. I see we are doing the thrust into the Sanctum, into the Dimensional Barrier, which is fine. Nothing really too crazy. There's your Fiendsmith and Paradise, as per usual. And once again, I mean, no plugin, actually. Plugin is being cut from these combination builds. They just believe that they don't need it. That's so crazy to see the advancement of this deck, that they're cutting a card that people were considering an absolutely powerful choice to this. But, you know, that proves that the TCG has been innovating very, very well out here. You know, seeing that you don't need these extra little pieces along the way is very, very good to see. So that is all I have for this event. And I gotta tell you, Gimmick Puppet Evolution has been good. Seeing the path of Rizal cutting, you know, cards that a lot of people were deeming to be, you know, very, very important has been very cool to see. So please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys.
Patrons!
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.